Welcome to the Bill Levinson Experience, a motivational podcast relating to the insurance brokerage industry and business in general. And now, here's Bill Levinson.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Bill Levinson Experience podcast. Here we are, early 2023. In fact, it's our second episode of the year. I'm very, very excited about this episode because the guest speaker has been a friend of mine for many, many years now. In fact, we have worked together with Amir and Watt Media, which is his company, for about 15 to 20 years now, and they have helped us tremendously. So this is quite an honor, and in fact, I've been asking him for a while now, and then all of a sudden I saw his marketing go out, and it was talking about his new podcast, and I said, wait a minute, Amir, we got to do this together, and that's how this whole idea came up again, right? So here we are today, February 17th, Friday afternoon, recording, and it's going to be awesome. And the reason why I say this, and I talk about these nuggets all the time, these gold nuggets, right? So if you walk away with a few nuggets by the time we're done in 40, 45 minutes, whatever it is, then it's a win-win for everyone, okay? If you wind up writing business with Levinson, or you wind up using Amir for his services, or you wind up not using any of us, but maybe you help yourself, that's also a win, okay? Keep in mind, the most important goal here is for you to learn and leverage new strategies and technology and social media. So that's the name of the game for us. So what I want to do real fast is I'm going to introduce Amir Watinsky, who, again, I've known for so long now. So, Amir, thank you for joining us. If you want to just say hello real fast, and then I'll jump into a background.
Sure. Hey, Bill. Happy to be here. So glad I can finally be on your podcast. Should be fun.
Yeah, and vice versa. Same with you. I want to be a guest speaker on yours too, as soon as possible.
We have to do that.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah. So, by
that.
the way, as we're talking about Amir's podcast, if you want to jot this down, it's called Business Marketing Today podcast, the Business Marketing Today podcast, which is available on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast platform, and just through his website, wattmedia.com. So everything is available there. So what I want to say real fast is, yes, we have over 22,000 insurance agents across the U.S. We have over 100,000 listeners. So if you're not an insurance agent, we have a lot of estate planning attorneys and CPAs and friends of mine from my networking events and the gym and the car stuff and all the above. You all are going to learn today because this is focused on business in general, okay? So I'm going to rewind and go back to day one and how I met Amir and Watt Media and how we leveraged their services and how we, number one, are still working together today almost 20 years later, and how they've helped us tremendously go from a small mom and pop 300 agent GA, right, to, again, over 22,000 agents nationwide. And he helped us with that. I mean, he was a big part of that because I needed to be put on the map in a large way, right, not just in South Florida. So, in the early days, and I don't want to steal his thunder because I'm going to turn it over to him in a minute, but I think this is important. In the early days, back when, if you remember this, putting people on hold, right? Instead of just having hold music or Christmas or Hanukkah music or whatever it is, you wanted to have some value there, right? So when your customer was on hold, they heard about your new products or services, and that was kind of a new thing. And Amir did some editing for us and put together, it was a professional voiceover, and I gave him a list of all of our hot products, and sure enough, we imported that, started to use it, and all of a sudden, agents would say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had Banner Life or premium financing, and I was like, wow, this, works great. And then, of course, social media, and then our Facebook and social media ads, and the list went on and on and on, and now I use him for pretty much everything when it comes to social media management, our ads, of course, still our hold message. So all the above. And then we have some bigger agencies that also utilize his services, and he'll also confirm this, but he has, in fact, most of his customers have nothing to do with life insurance at all. So I wanted you all to get a chance to hear from Amir himself, right? I call him the guru when it comes to social media management and SEO and running ads and having a professional website and coming up with creative marketing, right? That's his niche, and that's what I want him to share with you all on. So, all right, so real fast, Amir, let's just jump right in here. If you can just give a little background about yourself and the company and how this whole thing began.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, you mentioned how we got our start. So when I founded the company 25 years ago, which I cannot believe it's been 25 years, I started it out as a audio production company. And I kind of had a musical background. I actually, most people don't know this, but I have a degree in music, which I knew at the time I would probably not use because I knew I wanted to go into business for myself. But it's what I loved, and I didn't know what else to major in, frankly. But I did have a home studio, and I saw that there was a need and a business model for the service that you mentioned, which is the on-hold messaging. So when people are placed on hold, there's an opportunity to provide them with some marketing, a recording that promotes their products and services. And that's how I started the business in my wife and my apartment, and then moved into our house, a room in our house. I had a little studio, and all we did for the first 5 or 6 years was audio production, on-hold messages, one client at a time, including Levinson and Associates. And over the years, people would say, "What else do you guys do? Do you offer websites? Do you offer any other services?" And in the beginning, I would say, "Nah, we don't really do websites." But, like any entrepreneur, after a while, I said to myself, why am I saying we don't do this? Why don't we start offering this service? And then we did start offering web design first. This was before social media even existed. So can you think of a time like that? I mean, it's like the dark ages, right? So we started to do websites. Again, one website, second website, more and more. Then social media came along, and we immediately offered that service. And one thing led to another, to the point where now we're a full-fledged web marketing company. We provide all web marketing services. So that's websites, search engine optimization, social media marketing, paid ads, even email marketing. And we still maintain those old on-hold clients. We don't really look for new ones because, to me, the future is online marketing. Yes, people use the phone, but the opportunities for advertising there are not what they used to be. And just with a look to the future, we are now focused more on the online marketing. And here we are.
Yeah. No, that's a great story. And I think what's so important and what impressed me so much, and like this day and age, right? The trust and the relationships are so hard to come by, right? It's like, especially when it comes to, technology and social media, I mean, first of all, you can get a package price, let's call it, okay? And the package price can run anywhere between $2,000, $5,000, $45,000. And I feel like there's a lot of these third-party companies out there that kind of take advantage, right, of the rookie, newbie business owner that maybe doesn't have expertise in this area. So it's a very niche market, and I think what comes first and foremost is the trust and the relationship and the loyalty, and that's hard to find, and that's what impressed me so much about you, and I'm sure your other customers as well, because again, it's so hard to find. So when I knew, oh, Amir also is doing this and he's doing that, of course I gave him the first opportunity, when we launched, let's say, social media, and everything
Right.
else was exactly the same way, and it turned out great. So I think that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
For sure, and I appreciate that. And when you're in business 25 years, you can actually look back and say, wow, we've had this client for 10 years, for 15 years, and that's something that I don't take for granted. I think it's a special thing, and I do consider ourselves more of a boutique type agency. We're not huge, but we are. We're as big as I'd like us to be, and we're doing well, and we have lots of long-term happy clients, and that I would much rather have that than just have thousands of clients, and they're just a number. You don't really have a relationship with them. So I'm proud of the relationship that I have with our clients, and that's what we try to cultivate.
Yeah, no, and the proof is in the pudding. I always like to say that because, he's being very humble right now, but I'm going to talk about some of these accolades. And so real fast, he started the company in 98, and he is known in South Florida, now all over Florida, right, as a web design, search engine marketing, social media management firm. And I'm going to just say quickly, he also served on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce of Coral Springs for 6 years and chaired the tech committee. So that's a big deal. Nominated for the Small Business Leader of the Year award twice, and is a graduate of leadership in Coral Springs. Past president of his local temple, served on the board of directors for 14 years, and he also speaks and lectures at local colleges here in South Florida. So I know he sounds humble, but he's doing a lot of stuff out there, and I think there's humble. Yeah, exactly. So no, but I'm proud of this. I mean, I think this is very impressive. So you're doing something right, and it shows.
Thank you.
So
yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course. And what's kind of ironic is we're about the same age. We're both doing this for about 25 years, and we also have a lot in common in the background and the personal side as well. So it's all good stuff. All right, so let's just shift gears for a second. And what I want to talk about is obviously you've been very successful over the years, and you've proven the concept and I want to just touch on something you said, like how when you started, these voiceovers and the editing, and how your background was music, and then all of a sudden you said, you know what, we have these relationships with our clients already. Why not introduce, web design and social media management? And you tried it, and it worked. And I think that's key. That's a good takeaway if you want to jot this down, because I'm going to just talk to you insurance agents or anyone in sales, right? If you're focused on life insurance, right, and your same customer that loves you and you love them, and they're interested in annuities or long-term care, why not, leverage some resources, learn from our office, and offer these products to your same clients? It's the same exact model that Amir just spoke about. And obviously it worked for him, and it works for us, and it should be working for you too. So that was a good point, Amir. What I want to also mention too is you've proven to be successful over the years, right? And we all went through this whole COVID thing together, and now obviously we're coming out of it, right? Hopefully sooner than later it will be done. We're also seeing a slight recession around us, right? And business-wise, I'm just curious, how has that changed? Your model, performance-wise. Did this help you or hurt you, or just if you can give us a little feedback there?
Sure, absolutely. Well, COVID, as you mentioned, really changed things. In our industry, look, obviously COVID it was horrible, but for our industry, we had a record year. 2020 was an absolutely record year, and it makes sense if you think about it, everyone was basically, closed in, locked down, and they were concerned about their businesses, and they wanted to get online, right? So all of our clients wanted to increase their marketing, and our business boomed in 2020 as a result of the situation. So, business, we broke records, 2020. We were doing a lot more social media marketing, a lot more paid ads on Google, on Facebook, LinkedIn. All of that just increased. And that continued through 2021 as well. So it continued to increase, not as steep, not as high a level, but still on a very consistent, basis. And then I would say, towards the end of, even last year, it continued gradually increasing. But at the third quarter of last year, we started to feel a slowdown. And we noticed, I always keep an eye out with my clients, what are they seeing? So we have some clients like restaurants and even some retail businesses, and I hear from them what they're seeing. And I kind of use that as a marker. And then there's usually a small delay before we see the impact of anything economic that's happening. But I would say I agree there was a slowdown, and we felt the slowdown at the end of last year. The good news is we're seeing an uptick this year, in the beginning of this year. It's consistent with coming out of the holidays. Now it's a new year. Businesses are strategizing. They're ready to market. They have their budgets. So we've had one or two accounts that canceled or paused service 2-3 months ago that have now said we're ready to resume. So, that's good, and we do see an increase right now. Hopefully it will continue. I still see maybe some uneasiness or, people are not sure what's happening with the economy, so maybe there's a little bit of hesitation. But overall, I think that they're more positive now than they were, let's say, 4 to 6 months ago. So, hopefully we continue on this trend, and we have to always deal with the ups and downs, of any economic cycle, even the time of year, and different types of cycles. We've been through it, and as long as you just keep doing, what works best, I find that it comes back, and the upturn is just around the corner.
Yeah, I truly believe that too. And what's interesting is exactly what you just said mirrored our results and performance since COVID. Same exact thing.
Really?
And yeah. And I think mainly because, and I hate to toot our own horn, but we were so far ahead of the curve as far as tech goes. Like, we already built this Insure Me Now direct platform, and that was years before COVID came. So we were kind of ready for this in a sense, right? Even though no one knew what was around the corner. But yeah, that was our best year. 20 was our best year, and it's still increasing. And I think what happened with agents and consumers, right, all over the country, is everybody kind of had to slam on the brakes at the same time and say, wait a minute. These face-to-face meetings, these face-to-face seminars, right, have to stop, and a dead stop. And what are we going to do, right? And that's why Zoom obviously took off, and GoToMeeting took off, and, all of those web services. And you, Watt Media, you're kind of tied into that. Like, even for us, I said to myself, wait a minute, right? We have to change this marketing model, get the word out quickly through social media, through our ads. And of course, that sparked a phone call to you saying, Amir, I want to market this platform and I want to get it out quick, and we did that. So everyone, I feel like, had to adjust, but I feel like the businesses that were kind of tied into technology and doing things remote had a big head start. And I think the results show. Yeah.
For sure.
So,
and this is what I was mentioning and why we focus on the web marketing. versus the telephone production that we used to do, because that's the future, right? So and it shows, where people want to be online more and more, and they're worried about missing out if they're not online, if they're not marketing correctly. So absolutely.
Yeah, so true. I'll give you a quick example, like for us and at Levinson. So we had a marketing budget, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And we would take that money in the beginning of every year and have a meeting and say, okay, how much are we going to put into magazines and e-blasts and social media? And we literally went from like 70 to 80% focused on like magazines and e-blasts to just the opposite, to now where it's about 20% dedicated to like national e-blasts, and the magazines are pretty much gone to zero, and most
Right.
of our budget now is focused on social media. So it's just crazy how things happen. And we were in front of all of that, meaning Amir and Levinson, Watt Media and Levinson. So it's great to see. And I think for you all that maybe weren't on the plus side, right, over the last few years, it's completely fine. But what a great learning lesson, right? Because you never know what's around the corner, and you got to be prepared. You got to be proactive, and because you just don't know. So I think there's a lot that we can take away from that.
For sure.
All right. So what I want to talk about too is if you, Amir, let's say you had your insurance agent hat on, right? And obviously you're not an insurance agent. You are a Watt Media, a tech boutique type of niche provider company. But let's just pretend you had your life insurance agent hat on, and obviously you're comfortable with technology and websites and social media. What would you say, like, at the minimum, just some of the basics, as far as social media, what would you focus on to get the word out? Here you are, you're this insurance agent, and from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, right? You have all the products through Levinson. What would you focus on in the beginning, at least, to market and get the word out?
Right. So I've actually spent some time thinking about this, because through the years, talking to Levinson agents, I've often asked myself, what would I do if I were them, so I can give them the best advice. So what I would do if I were an insurance agent today, number one, I would make sure I have a good website that is informative, that has information that's easy to navigate, so that the visitors can find what they're looking for, and most importantly, that gives me credibility. So not a one-page website. I get asked sometimes, hey, can you just do a landing page? And my answer always is yes, but why would you want just a one-page website? You need to build credibility, because your visitors make a decision whether they should contact you probably within a few seconds, right? So number one, a credible, professional-looking website. Number two, as you mentioned, you definitely have to be in the social media game these days. You don't have to be on every single platform. Okay, quality is more important than quantity. So go on the platforms where your target audience is. And in my opinion, those are definitely Facebook, LinkedIn, and increasingly Instagram as well. Now, if you enjoy other platforms, you love Twitter, that's great. Keep doing Twitter. But in my opinion, those three that I mentioned are the ones I would start with. And I would post quality content a few times a week. Again, it's more about quality. So if you can churn out quality every day, that's great. But if it's garbage every day, I'd rather see you doing one post a week that's of really good quality than just posting for the sake of posting. And the reason is that the way the algorithms work is that when people engage with your posts, and by engage I mean liking, sharing, commenting, then Facebook or Instagram will now show your post to more people. And when they engage, they will show it to more people. Now, it's difficult. You're an insurance agent. You're not Starbucks or a restaurant or a retail location where it's easy to get hundreds and hundreds of followers, and I realize that. But that doesn't mean that you still can't have an audience that sees your posts, and that the point is to stay top of mind with them so that either they are interested now or in the future when they think of insurance, they think of you because they've seen your posts all along. So those are the two first things that I would do, is a website and social media in a quality approach. I think is very important. And then a third thing, occasionally you can boost a post. You can run an ad. If you boost a post, it doesn't have to be expensive all the time. You could do $50, $100 on one boost. Boosting means that the post will be seen by a larger audience than your followers, and you can select zip codes and demographics. And if you do that consistently, I think it's a good start. I just want to add one more thing to that, is that all this online marketing does not mean we throw out traditional marketing. I think that's an important point that often gets lost. Just because you're doing social media and you have a website, that does not mean we stop personal networking or seminars or things that still have value. And I would like to emphasize that because, like I said, it does get lost in the message sometimes. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then, of course, I always say, like, you meet people, it could be online or at the supermarket or whatever. First thing you got to do nowadays is collect that email address. I mean, literally, it's like name, email, phone. And you got to start email dripping on your entire network, consumers, friends, family, right? I mean, you got to get, what do you recommend? Like once a week, once a month? What do you think?
For the emails, minimum of once a month. Maybe more often. It depends on, again, the content that you have. If you have good content to send out weekly, that's great. Otherwise, I would do monthly. No less than that. You want to, in an email, give a good quality message, either a promo or a tip, something of value. And let's remember, everyone is inundated by emails, social media. They're getting it from all angles. What that means is we need to kind of make sure we don't miss anything either. So we hit them from all angles as well, because one person may ignore your email but see your social media post. Someone else maybe is not on social media, but they get your email. So that's why they are all important. And, that's what I would do. And that's what I recommend to agents that I speak to. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, no, it does. I like your point with, hit them from all angles. You're right. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. If you're using, paid ads and boosting, thinking, oh, now I don't have to do networking events anymore or seminars. I call it like the 5-prong approach, bringing in consumers from all different angles, all different walks of life, and then it's up to you now, right, to set the appointments, set up the phone calls, the Zoom meeting, the face-to-face, if you can still get one, hit them from every single corner. And then, you have a great machine working on autopilot. So I love that. That's strong.
And do what matches your personality. So if you're an outgoing person and you like to get involved in the community, establish your agency as one that's involved in the community. Join a charitable board, join a networking group, BNI, a chamber, whatever it may be, because there's endless opportunities there also for marketing, for getting your name out there, for being the source when people are looking for your products.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Amir, and I learned a few new things about you today by doing some of my research here. Has that worked pretty well for you, like with relationships and business? I see you're very involved in the community.
I mean, for sure. And, I don't do it for business, but I do it, because I enjoy doing it. But the business is a byproduct, and it definitely happens. I've always said and thought that the best networking occurs naturally. So it doesn't only occur at business networking events, but if I'm at my kid's Little League game talking to another parent, well, guess what? That's networking too, right? So it's just getting to know other people, what they do, and if you can do it in a way that you feel is giving back or serving on some board, and it's something you believe in, I think it's a great opportunity for networking and for getting business as well. So absolutely.
Yeah. No, I completely 100% agree with that. And you have to remember, and it's not rocket science, right? You think about this, you're meeting all these people in your network, right, at your kid's soccer game, cheerleading event, supermarket, anything, whatever. You're meeting people face to face, and the first thing everyone asks is, what business are you in?
Right.
So you
what
introduce
do you do?
yourself. Exactly.
Exactly.
And the point is, so all of a sudden when the need comes up for insurance or retirement planning or tax saving strategies or social media management, for example, they're going to remember, that guy Amir, what a nice guy. I know I have his card or I have his email saved with his signature block. I'm calling him or I'm going to refer him. Right. That's just the way it works naturally. So we all know that. So touch as many people as possible online and face-to-face. That's the way I look at it. So it works. At the end of the day, it works. But you got to get out there. You got to get out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So just a quick question here, and I like, we have a lot of younger agents on here. We have younger audience members, some high school, college, and a lot of them ask me this question, so I'm going to pass it along. But if you could go back 20 years, Amir, anything you would have done a little differently that maybe would have helped you be even more successful? Any tips for the youngsters out there?
That's a tough question. I don't think I would necessarily do anything differently, but I think I would tell myself, like, don't worry, it's going to be okay, type of thing. I would just reassure myself. There was a time when I was in college, and I can remember this vividly, where I told you that I have a degree in music. I mean, the reason I ended up choosing that is really because I didn't know what else to major in, and I switched between two different majors, and I didn't know what to do, what I would end up doing as a career. And I remember even asking my father one day, how do I know what to do? How do I know, like, the teachers aren't really helping me figure out what my career should be? And I even went to, like, a guidance counselor, and they gave me some tests to help me figure it out. And I don't even remember what it said, but I know that it was pretty much worthless, So I really went through, like, a little phase where I was just very confused about what to do with my career, what to do with my life, what to major in, and so on. And it all worked out. So I just think, I would just tell myself, don't worry, everything will be okay. And I do, I'm kind of seeing it now with my boys. I have two boys. They're a little older now, so 23 and 18, but they're at the age that, figuring out what to do with their lives. And I believe now, everyone has their own path. Everyone finds the right way eventually. And so I would just tell myself, don't worry. Don't be so confused. You'll figure it out. And I did.
Yeah, obviously you did. Yep, you did great.
Right.
And that's a great point. Absolutely. And then motivation-wise, I mean, obviously your family motivates you, your children. Is there anything else that you do, like maybe, I don't know if it's other podcasts, if it's reading books, yoga, gym, anything that helps you literally go to the grind, every single day, because we know it requires a lot of hours and effort and focus daily, right? So any suggestions, or does it just come to you?
Right. I mean, in the early days when it was more about starting the business, I did listened to all the, gurus, so to speak, Tony Robbins and some others I don't even remember. But I would, had their CDs and the 5-disc set or whatever it was. And,
oh yeah.
And I would read, and I would read their books, and I would really get motivated. But I think that's very important. Motivation is key. It's very important. But motivation is also like a temporary thing. Like it comes and goes. And 2 weeks later, are you still as motivated are you all fired up since you listened to that CD? I know I'm dating myself with a CD. I mean, a podcast, right? So I think you have to then transform motivation to an action, right? A plan of action. So we can think of it as a goal. And to this day, every year, I have a tradition. Every year, at the end of the year, around Christmas time, I'll start figuring out, what are the goals for next year? What's the plan for next year? And I'll jot them down, and I'll go over this a few days and kind of come back to it and come up with my plan for the next year. So that's what I would say. That's what keeps me motivated is you have to have a plan. You have to have an idea where you're going. And these days for me, it's less about that, the fire or getting motivated because that's already there. It's kind of been built in over the years. Now it's just about what's the plan? What am I doing? How will I get there? And so that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's great. I mean, I happen to listen to a podcast every single morning on the drive to work, and it gets me going. I look at this. I take it very serious, and whatever works for you, everyone listening, as long as it works and it helps you, great. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a walk around the block. So each person is different when it comes to this. I like what you mentioned. You sit down and go over your plan, your goals for the year. You write them down. You keep it in front of you, kind of like a vision board, and it's in front of you every day, and it keeps you on course, like an airplane, right? Going from Florida to California, they have to stay on track, and it works similar to that. So that's a great nugget, and obviously it's working well for you, which is fantastic. What I just a couple questions left, and then we're going to put a bow on this. I want to make sure I hit on everything before we let Amir go. Is there any good business success stories that, maybe you saw a business grow, maybe it was a 3-year period, 5-year, because of your services, or maybe social media or a website? Is there anything that you could share with the audience?
Yeah, there is one that comes to mind. It's a client that came to me also years ago, about 15 years ago. He had a e-commerce website, and it was pretty small. He was selling some products, e-commerce website, and he had maybe 50 products at the time. And he built it himself, but he was ready to take it to the next level. And I remember him sitting in front of me in my office, and he said, I remember the exact example he gave. He said, right now I have maybe a Hyundai, and I don't need a Rolls Royce. This is what he said. I don't need a Rolls Royce. I just need you to, like a Cadillac or something. Can you turn my site from a Hyundai to a Cadillac? And it's funny because that still sticks in my mind, that example that he gave. But we built him a new e-commerce website, and we definitely took him from, where he was. Forget about it. I think we gave him the Rolls Royce personally, but and I charged him for the Cadillac. All right, my mistake, right? But today, this store I think has close to 100,000 products, and I've seen him grow and seen him personally grow, and I am just fortunate that we could be a part of that. And that's the one that sticks out in my mind, So it's a great success story, and I'm proud of that. And I always think back, and I'm still in touch with him today. He's still a client. We still do his work, and so that's my favorite success story.
That's awesome. What was that? Was that around a 5-year period, 10 years, 2 years, just roughly?
That was from
the Hyundai to the Rolls.
Yeah, the Hyundai to the the site took a few months to build, but him taking it from let's say 50 products to, tens of thousands, getting close to 100,000. That was probably over a 5-year period.
Wow.
Gradually adding more and more and more, and it just blew. It just did great.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And 5 years is not long considering. So
no,
and I will say too, you helped us tremendously. I mean, I think we're a good success story that came out of Watt Media as well. So yeah, no, we all appreciate that. I mean, I'll tell you, there's times that it's been, a Sunday afternoon, and I have this crazy idea in my head. I'm like, Amir, we got to get the message out quick, and I'll send him an email or I'll text him, and he'll answer me right back. And that Monday morning, the new ad or message is out. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, it's great stuff. And you know what I think another nugget, for everyone is, and it just made me think of this during our call. You think about this, it's like you came into this, and you were editing like cold messages, and that was kind of your background. But I think key, and it doesn't matter, insurance or technology or e-commerce site or whatever it is, right? Any type of business, it starts number one with the relationships. And I feel like once you have that and people like you and they trust you and you do the right thing, even if you're not making money in the beginning, right? They'll do everything with you. It's like once you lock that in, and then all of a sudden you're offering, 2 things on the menu and then 10 things on the menu, and they trust you, the loyalty's there, you're off to the races. And I think some of the younger generation, you can't forget about that. And it doesn't happen overnight. And it has to start with relationships, right? And trust and honesty and everything else that comes with it. And then you go from there. But I think this is a good example of that with Amir and our own business. Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you offer. It doesn't matter what you sell. Another way of thinking of it is we don't only sell the actual service or product. So I don't sell websites necessarily and social media. I sell maybe a way to get you found, a way to get you more exposure. Insurance agents, you don't only sell life insurance, you sell peace of mind, right? You sell an emotion, an experience, whatever it might be. So to your point, it's all about people and making connections. That's why we all do what we do. Absolutely.
Right. That's right. And with the help of your services, if you're the local Miami, life insurance guru, and everybody in Miami knows to go to you when it comes to insurance, with the help of these services and social media and this website, right? You heard what happened with Amir's other customer. You can be the same guru in Georgia, in Arizona, in California, in Iowa, right? There's no reason these days why you can't spread out, right, in the retail space. So there's so many, I mean, literally it's endless. The opportunities are endless, but you got to jump in. And okay, so we're going to end with this. Our agents, our audience, which, by the way, I want to thank everyone for taking the time and sitting here listening to the two of us chat back and forth. Most important, thank you. I hope you have your best year ever. What I want to ask Amir before he goes is if you can just touch on your services once again, everything that's available to our agents, and then obviously they can find you on wattmedia.com. But just touch on that briefly, Amir, and then we'll get this wrapped up.
Sure. So we can help with websites, that's creating a new website or updating an existing website, social media posting, social media content creation, that's graphics, images, and posts, search engine optimization, getting the website listed on Google and getting more visitors, and email marketing, which is creating, designing, and sending out email marketing content to your email list.
Okay.
That's what we can help with.
And I'll personally put my stamp of approval on Amir and Watt Media because we are a customer now for almost 20 years as well. So this isn't just some paid infomercial or something. This was awesome, Amir. Thank you so much. Just a few things that I want everyone to walk away with. I think number one, relationships, right? You got to write that down. It starts there, and then it kind of branches out. Doing the right thing. I think the honesty, the loyalty, right, that Amir has shown us as a customer is priceless. And I think that's huge. I think your vision board for your goals and your plan for the year, crucial. Okay, I mean, you got to see that every day, right? To keep your foot on the gas and stay focused. You got to network and get yourself out there. Okay, with that said, reach out to Amir for anything that you need, or obviously contact our office. I can put you all in touch, no problem at all. I want to make sure everyone does the right thing in 2023. Get the word out. We're here for you every step of the way with our value add platform. Let's have a great year, good selling, and thank you everyone again for taking the time. And thanks again, Amir.
Thank you for joining us for the Bill Levinson Experience. Please feel free to share this podcast with anyone you think would be interested. You may also visit levinsonandassociates.com and all of Bill Levinson's social media pages for more information.